update, guys. Back in the workshop. Not a lot going on today, but these two bolts, this one and that one, they hold this little chap on. And a lot of you may recognize that. It is the oil light switch. Oil comes up through here, and I think it pressurizes into this, and it lets it through into the rest of the engine. So what I've been doing is just cleaning these up. This one I've just run a dye over, nice and clean and tidy, and I'm just about to do this one, so I'll just film that so we can see that. Probably a little bit of oil may help. Let's just put a little bit of damn on there, not a lot. Yeah. Right, let's use the Allen key, and we'll just drive this one down. Now you could use an impact driver or drill, but it's a little bit risky because if you bottom out, you can ruin the tap, ruin the bolt, and it just isn't worth it. Just do it nice and gently until you see it run out of thread. It'll get tight. Just back off a little bit. There we go, and that's nice and free now. So we'll take that right out. What I'm going to do now is clean off the bolts with my air gun. Just clean off the tap. If you look at those, I think you'll agree they're pretty clean. Yeah, so that's that done. Now some people would have put that in the vise and run that over the top. Either way, doesn't make any difference as long as you steady, take your time. So now these two can go in there. They are the old bolts. I've polished them up as best I can, but really it would be nice to put some new stainless steel ones. These are the O-rings at my O-ring box. I'm still waiting for the good old Dave at Bikes to bring some more O-rings. The O-rings that stop me at the moment are these. I'll show you. Let's go over to the bike. Let's put that down there a second. Leave all those there. Put the O-rings on the oil switch. Just have a better light on the subject. There's one. Do you guys see that? And here is two. Now it might be an idea to use the ones which are quad O-rings. They've got four little flanges on them. But to be honest with you, as long as the O-ring is proud, slightly proud of the surface, then I think we'll probably be okay. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, these O-rings here stop me dead at the moment. And these are very important because this is an oil way up to feed the cams. And if we don't put the O-ring in here, then we're almost definitely asking for trouble. And the other very important O-ring, of course, is this one for the cam chain tunnel. And that one's seated there to stop any oil getting out from the cam chain, because obviously that is quite a heavy place for oil splashing, so you want to be a bit careful of that. Wow, I can smell something. I can smell something cooking, and I'm now going to go off into the kitchen to see what's going down. What's that smell? It smells really good. Let's turn my light off a minute, guys. Can smell something cooking. I wonder where they are. Oh wow. Well, well, well. Look at what we got here. If this is not a welcome break from playing around with nuts and bolts and bikes, I don't know what is. Just a message from Mr. Millyard. You're not the only one that gets nice cakes and goodies to eat from the other half. I'm gonna pinch one. I'm gonna make a cup of tea, and then I'm gonna go back out to the workshop. Marmalade tarts, lovely, yum yum. Look at those guys. Alan, you're not the only one that gets the pies or the cakes. Ha ha ha. See you later. Well, that's them done up nice and tight. Just a little bit of feel. As long as those O-rings are clamped, doesn't need to be over the top. You'll see there that the oil pressure switch is now mounted. So there we go. Right, that's it, that's done. See you later. Right guys, back. Because we took the gearbox off, the transmission takeoff I should say, for the propeller shaft, we had to put the drive shaft back in. I don't know if you can see there, but I think I did this earlier in an early video, so I don't want to go over old ground. There's a hole there, and inside that hole there's a pin. It can't come up through the hole because the pin protrudes from the output shaft that goes into the prop shaft, and it's on a spring, and you have to push the pin. First we have to line this cup up with the shaft that protrudes with all the splines, push the pin in, and then push this cup onto the shaft. It can be a pig, I warn you. You're better off with two guys, one to hold the gator back, one to line up the cup, and also push the shaft at the same time so it slides over the spline shaft into the spline cup, and then you need to push the pin down once you get it part way, and then push it home, and then the pin will pop into that hole that you can see there, locking the cup onto the actual output shaft. Tricky, very tricky, but again, bit of patience, and you can do it on your own. I've just done it myself, but it's taken me a good 15 minutes to get it all lined up, just so that it slots home nicely. Okay, that's it for now. I'll be back later. Right, welcome back to the workshop. We finished off all this now. I'm about to put the head on. The washers have come through, which I talked about in an earlier video. If you look up here, the stud washers, which obviously go on the studs when the head's back on, and we've done all their location and made sure that it's all seated down. Obviously then we'll tighten it up and torque it down. But I just want to talk about this now. I talked about this earlier, and I think I made a bit of a a bit of a hash in the commentary with this, but not to worry. I'll go into that when the clutch has been put in, and then we can go into that in a bit more detail really as to what I did. Everything else is finished on this side. I'm probably going to put one tie in there for this particular. I don't know if you can see that. That cable's not really good. It needs to be tied into there, so I'll probably put a steel tie in there to hold it down. Right, I wanted to talk about the drive shaft. I forgot to mention a couple of times on the last ones. Refer to my video earlier. I mentioned there's a pin which protrudes from the hole in the cup on the drive shaft. Now that drive shaft, I found, and this is just what I found, no, I'm not saying this is a way to do it, because maybe people will do it different ways, but what I found was that if you don't take the diff off on here and release the spring which is in there, which pushes on the floating splined slider joint, the drive joint from the prop shaft to the output gear on the diff, then the spring holds it up against this end here. So you can be there pushing that little pin in, and effectively what you're doing is you're trying to push the drive shaft that way, and the spring inside here is making it very hard. And believe you me, it is a strong spring. It's a very strong spring. Excuse me. So what I did in the end Even though in the earlier video I said about the pin, which is still true, that still holds. But it is a good idea, I have found, to take this diff off. I know it's a bit of a pain. Release the tension of that spring. You're going to probably strip it and grease it anyway, so it makes sense to do it. Take the diff off, take the tension off the spring, and then it is so much easier to push that cup, which is on the end of the drive shaft, which has got the internal splines. It is so much easier to push it that way. And of course, this all applies as well when you put it back together. You can put the tension on the drive shaft with your hand in here, and you can control it better. It's ideal, if, as I said in the earlier video, it is a better idea if you've got two people to do it, because one can steady that end and one can be holding this gaiter back, this rubber gaiter, so that you can then line it up halfway on the output shaft on here, and then push that pin in against its spring, and then slide the outer cup of the prop shaft, the drive shaft, all the way home, and the pin will pop in to that hole that you can see. But the reason it doesn't come right out is because the pin is a certain diameter, the hole is a certain diameter, but it's not all the way through the cup. So that it's the hole you see in the top of the cup is just enough to put an implement in there to push it home, push it down, so that you can slide that cup off. It's a bit long-winded, guys, but that's what I found helps for me. Any questions, anything you want to ask, just stick the comments down below. If you like to subscribe and click yes you like, or dislike, whatever. I'm open to offers, whatever you like. But that's what I've found, and I hope this gives you some idea. I'm going to sign out now because my lunch is ready and it's bloody cold in this workshop. Bye for now. Right guys, back again. Just a quick word. Anybody wants to let me know if they've seen this before. I don't know if I can zoom in on that. This is the clutch push rod. This end here that you can see with the warm bit on it is at the clutch worm gear end. Well, I say it's a worm gear. On the Z1100 it's 3 ball bearings in like a milled teardrop plate, which rides in as you pull the clutch cable. This rod goes right way through to what I just mentioned, the mushroom end, which is here, which pushes on a ball, and then it pushes on a small piece of steel similar to this length here, and then obviously pushes on the clutch to disengage. But what I'm interested in, if anybody's seen this before on anything that they may have stripped down, I think this includes not just the 1100 shaft, maybe the Spectra from the United States. I think it also includes the 1000 J2 and maybe a couple of other thousands. But this strikes me as a bit unusual. You can't see that. It's not very good at zooming in this. Ah, there we go. Just about to see it there. You can see it's worn down. And that struck me as a bit odd. And that may be the reasons why I was getting a problem with disengaging the clutch, because it was getting caught on that lip here and maybe at that end there, and obviously it wasn't disengaging the clutch, which could have been the problem. Anyway, just thought I'd put that in the comments, or make a comment on it. If you've got any comments and you've seen anything like this, do let me know. Maybe someone's can answer the question as to why it started to wear in the first place. Bit strange, but there we go. Anyway, signing out. See you later. Bye. This is just a quick tip. What I've done to make sure that the detent shaft on the inside of the box lines up between the spring that always returns the gear lever back to a given position, I put it on and I wiggle it and I can feel that there is tension there, the spring is working. So I know that that is located home where it should be. Back again, just a trick here. Looking at the airbox, state of the airbox, not very good, is it? Needs cleaning up. Took the rubbers off, and as you can see, they're quite hard. Now, to quote Blue Peter, for a lot of you that may remember Blue Peter years ago, here's one we done earlier. Well, they used to say made earlier, but this one, we put it in hot water and give it a few minutes, let the heat get into it. Just as a tip for anybody that wants to save themselves money on buying these, let alone getting hold of them. Getting hold of these is pretty tricky. Anyway, I'll pull this one out. As you can see now, look how squidgy that is. You wouldn't have a problem getting that on your airbox and also putting the carbs in. Gives you a lot of leeway. A lot of leeway. They will obviously harden up when the temperature comes back up, but this time of year, which is what, December, on top of December in the UK, things get quite cold. But that works quite well. So when it comes to putting these back in, I can soften them up by putting them all in a bowl of water, hot water. Put it back in again. Water's getting a bit cooler now, so it's probably not going to have a really good effect, but let's just see again. Take it out. Oh yeah, nice and supple. That would go in a treat. Obviously dry it off. Yep. Nice and soft. On the Z1s, it's a bit trickier because they're part of the airbox. But on the 1100, they give you a bit of leeway, which is good. Anyway, just a tip there. Going to be signing out now.